Welcome to another video on Evony. I'm Summer and I'm going to talk about joining monster rallies. Boss monsters are probably the best source for getting resources and a lot of other types of items you need to progress in the game. Especially if you're not a big coiner, you want to join as many rallies as you can and maximize what you get out of them. So the main priorities are the stamina and the chances of getting a double drop on the rewards from a monster. Stamina is basically the currency you pay to get the rewards, and double drop works as a discount, like buy one, get one for free. The next important thing is march speed, especially for some lower tier keeps and family member accounts. This can be very important because if your marches take a long time to return, you might miss the next rallies. And finally, monster debuffs if you want to help the bigger keeps in your alliance that do the main killing. As a rally joiner who sends only one troop, your buffs are irrelevant, but the monster debuffs you have on the generals you send to the rally can make a big difference. Now, how do we maximize these? Well, of course, the generals that you send play a big role. I will get to that at the end, but there's also quite a lot you can get from the general equipment. Some generals have specialties that are relevant, and finally, the skill books you use. And there are many other sources for increasing your march speed in general. Let me start with equipment. This part is important because this is where most rally joiners are leaving value on the table. You can get big gains here without spending. The most obvious one is the ring. A courageous dragon ring increases the double drop rate by 28%, and you certainly want that. But the boots can also help your march speed. Both kings and dragon boots have march speed in there, and dragon gives a bit more. But another good thing about the dragon set is that if you add two more pieces, you get these monster debuffs, which is suggest you do if you have enough dragon scrolls. If you have advanced a bit in the game, this is a pretty cheap way to help your alliance. For the other two pieces, I use the king set because it adds 15% to march speed. And on top of that, the spear itself adds another 50%. The bow also has march speed. It's half as much, but it's general speed, so applies to marching to the rallying keep as well. There's more to equipment. The weapon and boots can increase the march speed even more if you refine them. Refining stones are not that cheap, so I don't suggest spending too much on this, but you can actually get some decent buffs rather quickly, and I personally think it's really worth it. Then we have the skill books. They're pretty much self explanatory. One point here is that there seems to be a bug in the game that march speed to monsters for assistance does not work on the return march. I'm not sure what this exactly includes, but to be sure, I always try to have all march speed books on the main general and simply use the faster general as the lead general as much as possible. For the luck skill, you need to watch for incompatibilities. Some generals can't take it, and if you have it on the main general, it might cancel the core skill of that general if it's the assistant. For example, for Theodora. Now, let's talk about the generals. The ones you see here are all good options, and you can get different great combinations. Among them, you can ascend these three without any blood of Ares, using just their fragments. Sanada and Spartacus are easy to get, they're in the tavern, and Maria Theresa is in the rewards of this event. To make things easier for you, I made a complete list of different combinations. The link to the spreadsheet is down below. You can check it out to see what's best from the generals you currently have. I haven't checked all of them individually, and the compatibility assumptions might be off in cases, because Evany's logic on this is inconsistent. Let me know if you notice any, and I will update the list. Here you can specify if you want to use any of the general's specialties in the comparison. Specialty 3 is not useful for any of them, and Specialty 4 is really expensive to get, but 1 and 2 should be quite easy. Here I'm sorting the combinations with the priorities going from left to right, so stamina, double drop, speed, and then debuffs. I'm going to exclude anything that needs blood. At the top, you see Sanada at 3 red or orange stars and Nathaniel green. This gives 35% stamina reduction. I have 3 pairs of this combination that I use personally. Then, if you can awaken Maria Theresa, she gives 30% stamina reduction. She has 25% at 3 stars. Nathaniel Green also has 25%, so all of these combinations can work. Green and Bay Bars is one that I personally use. It's also 25% double drop. Another combination that I use is Huo and Nathaniel Green. I use this especially for monsters that are far away. I will show you how fast this march is for me at the end. Before that, a few final notes. For very low level keeps that have like only 4 marches and the march speed is just too low to be worth improving, you might want to send a single ground troop without any generals. Usually your soldier gets wounded on impact and you don't get a return march, but you get the rewards. For monster debuffs, defense has a much bigger effect than attack. So if you can put a Rurik Bracer on your joining general, it can help the rally setter if they normally get wounded by a boss. And finally, when you see march time reduction, that's much more effective than march speed increase. Now let's look at this Hua that I have. He has a 25% march time reduction, an additional 45 and another 25% march speed increase from the skills. Then the king's set adds 15% and the spear adds 50%. The boots add 27% and the refinements on the boot and the spear that you saw before add up to more than 100%. From his cultivation and level, I also get an additional 40%. So in total, it's about 300% added march speed, plus that march time reduction. As a reference, my overall march speed to monsters is 920%. So my base speed is just normal for K40, but this march will be more than 35% faster than any other march that I have. Here you can see how faster this march is returning than the others, and many of these other marches are from keeps with similar or even better base march speeds. That's it for this video. Let me know in the comments what combinations you use. Is there anything that I missed about joining rallies? I hope this was useful, and don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next video.